San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Adames not running, and Lee swings, hits it in the air to left field, not deep. Long run, Heyward in and towards the line, on the move, slides forward, and he makes the catch. Gonna hang a star for Jason Heyward.
That was one of 3 stars that were hanged by our broadcast crew. Hang a star. 3 great plays for the San Diego Padres yesterday that capped off what was a great 2-game series against the San Francisco Giants. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Padres sweep the Giants in 2 games here and a 2-game series midweek as they finally start their relatively, and we're going to call it a round robin between the contending teams in the National League West, and they're off to a 5-0 start in the NL West in general. Got to be able to get victories against the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks. This is a gauntlet of a division and a gauntlet of a league in the National League. And the Padres are off to a great start in this particular gauntlet. Got a lot to break down on this Padres team, but really what I want to start with on today's show, as I try to finish eating my pizza, big thanks to Roundtable Pizza, who always comes through on a Thursday, as we have Roundtable Pizza every Thursday for our Padres Roundtable. If you missed any of the Roundtable, and we had some good conversations today, as we always do, but if you missed any of the Roundtable, we're going to re-air it at 5 o'clock today before the Scraby Show. For anybody that's driving around, kind of a later time slot than 10 in the morning, and a lot of people at work trying to fit it in. It's very difficult to do. Commercial-free hour at 5 o'clock, just like we play at 10 o'clock with the Padres Roundtable, taking up the entire hour. Good conversation with Ben Higgins hosting, Chris Ello, myself, Paul Reindl, Matt Scraby, Steve Woods, and a lot of interesting topics discussed on the Roundtable today. But where I wanted to start the show today, and sometimes I take some of the Roundtable discussion topics on the air. I think it's a lot of good stuff and, a lot of things that we could discuss on the show. And again, if you want to give me a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. But where I want to start today's show is about the San Diego Padres 2025 team. We are now completed the month of April. Today is May 1st. Happy May 1st to all that celebrate the first of a month. I'm sure there'll be a May the 4th be with you commentary on Sunday. Cinco de Mayo's on Monday of next week when the Padres start a 3-game series against the New York Yankees. But we are 1 month in, even though they started in March, but after the conclusion of April. And 2 days ago, we had our takeaways from the first month of the season, or at the April cutoff. But after the first month of the year, in quotations, this San Diego Padres team is legit. The San Diego Padres team is really good. The San Diego Padres team is going to make a run. The San Diego Padres team is not only a playoff team, but they are a World Series contender. That's my biggest takeaway from this team after April. And it's not just me saying this. I mean, you start looking at some of the odds and everything like that for a World Series. Now, this came out on Monday after our show. But Baseball Reference 2025 World Series championship odds after Monday to win the World Series based on Baseball Reference's SRS. Cubs had the best chance of winning a World Series followed by the Tigers, the Mets, the Yankees, the Astros, the Mariners, and then it was the San Diego Padres, which tells you, it's very interesting, but that puts the Padres ahead of the Diamondbacks. It puts them in front of the Dodgers. It puts them in front of the Giants. You saw this team all year at full strength at the beginning part of the season get off to a dominating start. You saw them tread water a little bit, kind of more on the leaking from the boat, more so than weathering the storm. And then you get 2 reinforcements back, and Luis Arraez and Jason Heyward, and guess what? You're back to who you were. And as Manny Machado said, we are back to playing to who we are. This San Diego Padres team just swept a very good and hot San Francisco Giants team that handled the Rangers over the weekend, that has done a great job on the road, that's played really good baseball. They've gotten a lot of things go their way. Second best bullpen in Major League Baseball, the Giants have. They got a good pitching staff. You know, their offense is okay. It's not one of the best, but they still have some stars over there. They're a good team. Padres swept them in 2 games, and neither of the games were particularly close. They were close in a sense of they're a division rival you play every year. That was the close sense. But after 1 month of the year, with injuries, without injuries, when this team is at full strength, you can argue they are one of the best teams in baseball. It comes from their starting pitching staff. Guys like Nick Pivetta pitching his ass off already to start the season, coming from a bullpen that's number 1 in Major League Baseball. What do we hear all the time? Pitching. Pitching wins. Pitching wins in October. Pitching wins you World Series. Padres have the pitching. Now, they could probably use another arm or so, but I think where they're at in terms of their 5th starter, 4th starter, I mean, those guys are serviceable to get you through the year. That's all you really need a 4th and 5th starter for, because by the time you get to the postseason, you only use about 3, maybe 4 at the most. And guess what? You're getting Yu Darvish back. Hopefully by end of May, beginning of June. And to be quite honest with you, that's when you need Yu Darvish back. That June stretch is rough. And we'll be able to have some more takeaways during that patch as well. But the hot start to the season, the 7-0 start, which again you can mention was just early after about a month of play, this team is not only a playoff team, they are a World Series contender. Again, that's barring injury. We saw what the Padres look like when they're missing half of their core group. It's not very good. But you get Luis Arraez back, and you got Jason Heyward back, and Heyward made a phenomenal diving catch yesterday. The defense is playing great. Padres' offense is just way better with Luis Arraez in the lineup. And we don't even have Jackson Merrill back yet. He's supposed to be back on Monday against the Yankees. Tyler Wade stepped up. Gavin Sheets went through a little bit of a down stretch, but he started to not chase as much and pitches out of the zone. He's done well. It's the playing on the margins. And there's a lot that it was broken down today in Kevin Acey's newsletter about playing on the margins in Mike Schilt baseball, and some things that you don't even notice unless you pay close attention to it. And we're going to talk more about that as the show continues. A little bit about the base running. You see the stolen bases, you see the hit and runs. Have you paid attention to their leads? And getting a couple extra inches on their leads at first base and maybe at second, and getting guys that might not be as fast. Getting a couple extra inches on a leadoff that can help lead them to a stolen base at second, or preventing a double play at second base, or trying to score from second on a base hit that wasn't hit high exit velo. Those are the things that we're talking about. This team has a lot of good talent on it. It's got some good young talent on it. It's got good arms in the starting staff. It's got good arms in the bullpen. You got the best closer in baseball right now with 12 saves in Robert Suarez. You got arguably, I think, the best 7, 8, 9 in Estrada, Adam, and Suarez, or you could just completely lock down the final 3 innings of the contest. And then on top of that, I think this team is incredibly well coached. And I don't say that much about Major League Baseball teams because, again, a lot of managing is managing personalities and making sure your stars are happy, making sure your role players are happy. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of egos and a lot of situations in a clubhouse. Guys from all walks of life that you need to get pulling the rope in the right direction. I need everybody involved. And I think the job that Mike Shildt has done doing that has been exceptional. I mean, you can say what he wants about some of the stuff he says in the media. And he's long-winded on a lot of things. You see it all the time. And he protects his players almost to a fault, but that's his job. And we hear his interviews on he doesn't give away too much. You know what? That's fine. I don't care. I don't care what he does in the media. As long as he gets the guys to buy into his style of baseball, which is a fun style of baseball to watch, an aggressive style of baseball. But what Ruben Niebla is doing with the pitchers and Victor Rodriguez is doing with the approach at the plate, these guys are playing like college baseball in Southern California level of play with high talent on top of it. That grind, they just grind you. Grind you. You know who used to do that? Was the Dodgers the last 5-6 years. Has been they just wear you down. And the Padres are playing that style of baseball with high-end talent. They've weathered the storm. They're getting more reinforcements back on Monday. Lockridge should be back sometime during this road trip with Jackson Merrill, hopefully on Monday against the New York Yankees. You should get Jake Cronenworth back mid-May. They're expecting to have Yu Darvish back at sometime end of May, beginning of June. Guys, you've weathered the storm. And you didn't even fall that far in any of the standings of the power rankings. What this team has been able to do despite injuries is really remarkable. And Mike Shildt told that to me yesterday. We'll have the full clip for you when we come back. We're going to dive into more Padres baseball. Want to get your phone calls? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres off to a good start in NL West play, 5-0. We'll talk more about that, what Mike Shildt said about how his guys weathered the storm when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
iAccidentLawyer.com is the way to go. Call 800-920-0810. iAccidentLawyer.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-298-7182. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-298-7182. 800-298-7182. 800-298-7182.
$17 on a Thursday, a Padres off day. If you want to join the conversation, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're talking about the Padres, and I'm going to be honest with you, I mean, there was a lot of doomers yesterday in the chat. There's always doomers in the chat. Always doomers in the chat. It's all right, man. It's all right. And again, I'm a fair guy, okay? I mean, I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to say it how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. And when things are good, I'm going to say they're good. When they're bad, I'm going to say they're bad. You know, if the Padres are winning games but the process is lame or the process stinks, now I'm going to call it out. I mean, if the Padres are playing bad baseball results-wise, but the process is there, I'm going to mention that too. I mean, you're going to get honest stuff from me. I'm as real as you're going to get. You're going to know exactly what I feel, exactly what I'm thinking on a lot of different things. That's why you tune into my show, hopefully, for real honest takes. And so you're talking about this Padres. I'm telling you right now, this team is good. They're a good team, and it's not just because of their record right now. The way they are doing things is so great. They are doing everything that they've been talking about during spring training and leading up to the year. They're doing it. Their actions are speaking. Actions are speaking. They've said a lot of this stuff before. I mean, the last couple of years, they've said a lot of the right things. They know how to say the right things. But the way that they're playing in the game within the game and playing on the margins and playing this Mike Schilt level of baseball, that travels everywhere. You're going to be able to win deep in the season. You're going to be able to win on the road. You're going to be able to win in any environment the way they're playing baseball right now. I think we saw that in 2023 when the Padres were just relying on the big hit, waiting for the big hit. And when you didn't get the big hit, it was an L. Right now, you're finding different ways to win games. They don't need to hit home runs to win games. They're using their base runners. I mean, this was laid out in Kevin Acey's newsletter. And if you haven't subscribed to it, it's free to do. I highly recommend it. It shows up in your inbox. It's really easy. He does a great job. And there's a lot of like inside game within a game topics in there that we do address on the show, but he goes into more detail. And one of them was about the base running. And the base running that you don't see. Everybody sees the stolen base, but nobody sees the leads that lead to the stolen bases, or the fact that you have guys not getting out at second base on double play balls because they got that extra jump that they needed on the primary and secondary leads at first base. It's the getting the extra lead at second that helps with the run. That happened yesterday for the Padres early in the game when Tyler Wade drove in Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets had a good lead at first base, was able to get to second on a ground ball to third to prevent a double play because Chapman's like, can't get him there, got to go to one. And then did the exact same thing at second base with Tyler Wade up as he dropped a little bloop shot into right field and scored Sheets from second base. That stuff leads to runs. That stuff leads to multiple runs. That stuff leads to innings continuing and getting up and passing the baton and continuing to put relentless pressure on people that leads to big innings and putting up crooked numbers. Crooked number innings lead to having leads late in the game for your bullpen to shut things down. That leads to wins. And you guess what? You didn't even need to put the ball over the fence. This team is playing really good baseball, and a lot of it is because, at least I think, and some of you might agree, some of you may not, this team is really well coached. They're a well-coached baseball team. You know, the managing part is, I think, you know, from that perspective, you know, baseball's it's not really strategy when it comes to coaching as much as it is mechanics and the way you conduct yourself. That's where all the coaching is in play. I mean, a lot of the strategy moves, you can make every right move by the book and still lose because baseball is crazy. You could bring in the lefty reliever to take on the left-handed hitter. He hits him first pitch, walks him, or something like that. Now you're doomed. And the thing is, it's like, hey, look, you did everything that you're supposed to do. The way you do your lineup construction, the way you bring guys in, you could do it by the book as anybody would do, and you could still not get good results. It's not a strategy thing in game. It's more of a mechanical thing, and playing the game within the game. And that's exactly what the Padres have been doing. I even asked Mike Shildt about this, and it was a question and a follow-up question. And the question I had for Mike Shildt was more about from a coaching perspective of what he has learned from his team that we don't see from afar after the month of April was completed. Here's what Mike Shildt had to say. Just completed April for the season. What have you seen out of your team in terms of the progress the team has made that you like the most that, you know, we might not see on a daily basis?
I think you do likely see it. You know, we all see the game from different lenses. You know, big continual improvement. You know, continue to get better as the game series and season goes. And I was really pleased how we were able to enjoy our off season, but take advantage of it and have clarity individually and collectively of what we wanted to do. And all the different departments, you know, the pitching, the bullpen included with that, the, you know, base running, defense, infield, outfield, catching, and then the offensive approach coupled with the base running. And we were really sincere. And I felt like we won our off season, really had a productive spring training that built us into the season. We wanted to, who doesn't want to get off to a good start, but we were very intentional about it. You know, we were beating the drum on every side of it. You know, Ruben was really intentful with the pitchers to make sure, hey, we're going to be ready when the bell rings, and we're going to have a good March and April. And, you know, everybody was hungry to do that. The work was very, you know, coupled with the players, and it made a lot of sense. And so now we just continue to build. You know, we're still continuing to know each other and know ourselves better than we know our opponent, and try to know them better than they know themselves. And so it's just a continual process of improvement and togetherness.
Out of all the years you've managed for different organizations, you know, injuries happen, and you already said you don't want to make excuses. How do you think your guys this year have handled this kind of spell in terms of, you know, some teams can't really handle losing guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, we was on display a little bit last year. It's part of the game. You know, the health's an important component to a team and the success of a team, but also there's a mentality of what you have that given day. And, you know, the one thing that I really, really respect and appreciate and admire about this team is, you know, when we have our brothers, you know, leave us for a little period of time, we're going to support the heck out of them. We're going to love on them. We're going to be there for them. But we're going to figure out a way to move forward, you know, and you know, we say it a lot, talk about it. I don't have to say it a lot, actually, because it's actually a part of our fabric. You know, winners find solutions. It's just the fact of the matter. You know, there's no money in complaining. You know, it's not going to do anybody any good. All it is a complete drag. So let's figure it out. And what we have is plenty good enough. And there's not been one peep from a player, a staff member, and nobody's feeling sorry. Again, we miss our guys. You know, these are a big part of our club. But we have other guys that we have added to the club. You know, one of the guys that I've got a gold star by is Iglesias. You know, is the guy that just look in the box score, and, you know, he's got the big hit yesterday, and he shows up today, RBI, and he's always on point. You know, Maldonado coming in, moving our needle. Jason Heyward coming in, moving our needle. You know, these guys came from outside the organization, are really helping us out and figuring out a way to win games, and they've done that. So, long answer to your question, man, it's about togetherness and self-belief and figuring out a way, because, you know, that's what this game's about.
There's a couple of things that he said that I think are very important, that really go into what I mean by this is a well-coached team. I think the camaraderie and the continuity, we've said that a lot. I mean, you guys are probably tired of me saying it, but we've said it a lot. I mean, that gives them the kind of connection that 1998 team had. I mean, go watch. And I was 3 years old when they went to the World Series in 1998. But out of those, like all those videos that they have of some interviews post of that team that you've seen leak out in Padres land, a lot of them like knew at the beginning of the season, like we knew we were going to have a good team, and we played close together. And we had a group for a couple of years in a row, right? Going back, 96, they made the playoffs. 97, they didn't. 98, they really put everything together. And that core group went with them from 96 through 98, added a pitcher in Kevin Brown, and then they went after it. And there's a lot of similarities. There's not only similarities. Like, they didn't go get a Kevin Brown, the Padres didn't this year. But the way that they were a tight-knit group helped lead to their ultimate National League pennant winning and then World Series appearance for the first time since 1984. And a lot of the team this year has same kind of connections that 98 team. But what was a couple things that Mike Schultz said that I think are very important? We're going to talk about that when we come back. Also, what is showing up for Luis Arraez that makes an impact for the team that is not on a stat sheet or on Baseball Savant? I'll answer that as well as we continue the Braden Surprenant show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Mostly sunny and breezy, mid-60s to low 70s.
The Mexico versus Philippines rivalry heats up again. Three-division champ Emmanuel Vaquero Navarrete defends his world title against unbeaten Filipino warrior Charlie Suarez, Saturday, May 10th at Pachanga Arena, San Diego. And in the co-main, Southern California's own Raymond Murataya battles Zaur Abdulayev for the interim lightweight crown. It's a night of world-class action you don't want to miss. Saturday, May 10th at Pachanga Arena, San Diego. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-568-4433. 800-568-4433.
Injured? Call the Barnes firm now. 1-800-8-MILLION. That's 1-800-8-MILLION.
DQ presents How to Hit Summer's Sweet Spot. The new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu is here. And as the official treat of MLB, we're swinging big with our fan favorite S'mores Blizzard Treat. Plus, new mixing bowl mashup with brownie batter and chocolate chip cookie dough. And even more in our Stack Summer lineup. Hurry in today because nothing says summer like baseball and our new Summer Blizzard Treat menu. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery. So he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tune in Thursdays at 10 a.m. for our weekly Padres Roundtable, featuring the entire fan staff, delivered by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable Pizza. It's pizza royalty.
Rolling through the first hour on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're going to have the sports thread coming up in just a little bit. I still can't believe what J.J. Redick said pregame before the Lakers got eliminated from the postseason. I'm sure Tony's not having a great off day because of that. But we'll talk about that in the sports thread. You got to hear what J.J. Redick had to say. It's coming up at 11:45. If you want to call the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I talk about this team, and again, today's show was just, recapping the two games against San Francisco. Very important baseball games for the San Diego Padres in a sense of you're playing in a division that is the best division in baseball, and you're playing in the best league in baseball. I mean, all of the super teams and World Series contenders in reality are in the National League. Now, at the same time, and the Padres haven't done very well against the American League, but during that kind of run, it's been with a lot of injuries as well, so it's not something to I don't think it's that big of a deal per se. And we'll see how they do against the rest of the American League. I mean, they should be at full strength or relatively full strength come Monday. Still have to wait on Jake Cronenworth, but Jackson Merrill's expected to be back on Monday against the Yankees. And you could have a situation. We'll talk more about the starting rotation tomorrow, but you could have a situation, and they're going to have to find, they're have to have a fifth starter in there. But you look at the way the rotation lines up. I mean, you could have Pivetta, King, and Cease against the Yankees Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Before you have an off day and you take on the Rockies and then come back home against the Angels. But I teased it going to break. And I'm going to bring it up now. Talking about how this baseball team, and I think they're very good. I think the Padres have a good chance to make a run at a World Series. I think most of their problems, or should I say adversaries in terms of what's in their way, is in their own division more so than the rest of baseball. I mean, if the Padres can make it through their division, there's nobody outside the division that's going to be able to beat them in a 7-game series. I mean, most of the teams in the division are where the problems are. Your toughest challenges, Dodgers, Giants, Diamondbacks. I think you have some challenges with some of the teams in the National League East. Phillies always give the Padres a problem. The New York Mets look pretty good right now. Atlanta starting to come back a little bit. I think this weekend's a big test for Atlanta. See how they do. They're trending upwards, but now they got to take the Dodgers on again, who swept them in the second series of the season. But what makes this team so great, and we talk about a lot of the players, and we talk about the pitching staff and guys like Nick Pivetta. We've talked about what it's like to have Fernando Tatis Jr. playing at MVP level, the bullpen being the best bullpen in Major League Baseball. I mean, we've talked about a lot of that. The other thing I think you have to discuss is how well this team is coached with Ruben Niebla and with Victor Rodriguez. I mean, these guys are doing a phenomenal job working underneath Mike Schilt, who I think is saying all the right things. And one of the things that he said yesterday in the answer to the question that I asked in the post-game press conference was talking about, we've used the cliche before, winners find solutions. Losers make excuses, winners find solutions. But the other thing that he said that I thought was really important was the fact about there's no money in complaining. There is no money in complaining. You're not going to get anywhere in life just complaining about stuff. There's a couple of people, and I think that's a great thing to just live by. And we all complain about things, right? It's impossible to not complain about things in your life. Complain about your job, complain about, maybe your home life, complain about, traffic, people like to complain about things. I think we're in a society and everything, and so blessed with where we get to live in San Diego with the gorgeous weather and everything like that. We're so blessed to be here in America's finest city. A lot of us get to call this place home. And so there's little things that bother us in our world and in our individual lives, but perspective, I think, is key. And so there's no money in complaining. I think that's a lesson to be learned from that, and I totally agree with it. I've been seeing this a lot with, teaching younger kids and coaching young kids. I see Brock Ungrich do it with USD baseball. Anytime somebody complains and goes like, I have to do this, I have to take it this, I have to do that, he immediately responds with, you get to do that. You get to do this. Padres have to play the Yankees Monday. They get to play the Yankees. Padres have to play the Dodgers 13 times. They get to play the Dodgers 13 times. I think we could do that in our everyday lives. I think it's important. And have a little perspective. There's no money in complaining. I thought that was great out of Mike's show. That tells you everything you need to know about the status of that clubhouse. That guys are pulling the rope in the right direction. They understand the big picture, and sometimes things are not going to go away. And as I've seen a little bit more, and we've been trying to preach, nobody cares. Do better. So I try to apply it to my life. I mean, there's a lot of times where I complain about, certain things, and it might sound like I'm complaining. I like to complain a lot, but trying not to complain as much, because again, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to, there's no satisfaction in it, and people are just going to be like, I don't care, dude. I mean, most people, that when you complain to them about things, they don't care. I don't care, work harder. I don't care, be better. So to have that perspective, I think, is key. I think that's great in life. I think it's great to have that perspective. I like the get to versus the have to. I have to do this. No, I get to do this. I have to do X, Y, Z. No, I get to do that. There might be a lot of things that in your life that you feel like is a nuisance or something that you have to do in order to, you get to do that. And it makes you better in the long run. It makes all our lives, it makes everybody better. So the fact that they're playing by that philosophy, the fact that they are living by that philosophy, that is a group that is looking for high-level success, high-level achievement, and want to be the very best. You can either view it as being miserable, or you can flip it into, how is this making me better in the long term? It's still with work. I mean, I work a lot of hours. There's not a lot of times where I'm not doing something else. I mean, people just think I work the 4-hour shift. I mean, I go out and do USD baseball, and it's a lot of prep for the show and trying to give you guys the best. And sometimes I go like, man, I have to go do this, and this. No, I get to go do those things. There's a lot of times where I feel like after doing a 4-hour talk show, I have to go, call a USD baseball. I get to do that. Not a lot of people get to do that. It's great. So perspective, I think, is key. I think it's very key for the Padres organization and how they have conducted themselves so far this year. I think it's a very key thing in a lot of our aspects of life. I mean, we get to live in one of the greatest cities in the world. I mean, I think the perspective is key. Being grateful for what we have been given, and at the same time, understanding that any type of hardship that you might be going through, or some of us are going through, or whatever it may be, complaining is not going to get you anywhere. You're just going to be miserable. I've been there before. I understand that. But complaining to other people, even though it might feel like it's coming off your chest and it feels good, nobody cares. Be better. And that's exactly what the Padres are living by. Nobody cared that the Padres were banged up. Nobody's crying that the Padres lost, 3 of their 6 guys. I think from a perspective of a talk show, you have to mention, like, hey, guys, don't jump off the ledge. Like, they're going to be better in the next coming days. But the clubhouse, they didn't even miss a beat. And I know they didn't miss a beat because you look at the power rankings on ESPN that we're going to get to in the next segment coming up in the noon hour. They didn't even drop that much because people understand the situation the Padres are in, and they weathered it better than you would think. I mean, did they get all the wins during that time? No. I mean, but they played tough with a lot of the teams, kept it close. And you saw a lot of bright spots during that spot as well. Again, a little perspective. Have to and get to. There is no money in complaining. I need money, needs money. He doesn't complain too much. He needs money. There's no money in complaining. I love that the Padres live by that philosophy. There's a lot of the things that Mike Schultz says that I think falls on deaf ears. I think it goes over our head. I think you go cliche, but at the same time, the Padres are acting on it. And the actions are speaking louder than their words that they're saying in press conferences. So again, a little perspective. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you want to join the show today, we're going to get your phone calls in just a little bit. But before we do that, and before we talk about Luis Arraez and the intangibles he brings outside of a baseball savant analytics stat standpoint, it's time to take a look at today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
Adam Klug, our sports enthusiast, ready to give us what's going on in Major League Baseball and more with today's sports thread.
Number 1.
Aren't we all sports enthusiasts? That's
We
why
are
we're here, right?
We are. I'm a sports enthusiast.
We begin the sports thread today with some closer news. The Reds demoted their struggling former closer, Alexis Diaz, to the minors yesterday, while the D-backs placed their closer, Justin Martinez, on the 15-day IL with right shoulder inflammation. Toss-up. Who will have more saves for their team from this point forward? Alexis Diaz or Justin Martinez?
It's not. I'm going to go with Martinez. I don't think the Reds are going to be in a lot of save situations. He got sent down, but I think it goes back to our talking point earlier this week. Closers, man. I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, I know these guys aren't high money guys, but there's not a lot of success in giving big time closers big time deals. They find new arms all the time. I'm going to go with Martinez.
We will have some closer talk, part of the midday sports standoff, in about 1 hour.
Interesting.
Number 2.
Let's start with the Lakers pregame fireworks before we get to the postgame storylines. Prior to yesterday's win or go home game against the T-Wolves, head coach for the Lakers, JJ Redick, was asked about his rotation decisions from the previous loss.
As you watch the film, what do you recall about your thought process in the moment? Sticking with the 5 you stuck with in the fourth quarter the other day, and is there an assistant or someone maybe that you'll lean on tonight, maybe to try to get some other guys involved if that opportunity presents
itself? Are you
again?
saying that because I'm inexperienced and that was an inexperienced decision that I made? You think I don't talk to my assistants about substitutions every single timeout?
No, I just think there's a lot of coaches lean on their assistants in those situations.
As do I,
There's a lot going
every
on.
single time. That's a weird assumption.
And then he ended his press conference and got up and walked out. Hit a game to coach. Braden, did JJ Redick overreact to this question?
Yeah, I think he did. There's so many. Do these guys go through any type of training on how to answer questions? I mean, I sit there and go, and from a coaching perspective, I have a little bit of a coaching perspective. Now, I don't have to answer to the media ever as a high school football coach, and not even a head coach, an assistant coach. But at the same time, I feel like it could have been like, yeah, I always rely on this particular assistant coach. We usually converse about it, and we thought during that time not to take guys today. I think from watching film that we maybe need to do that a little bit more, and we'll have that conversation. I mean, there's so many better ways to answer that. He's obviously insecure about his own decision making and very insecure that people think he's inexperienced because of the fact that he's been getting ridiculed for being basically the only reason why he has the job is because he drinks wine with LeBron and hosts a podcast with him. Therefore, he's the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. That got to him. You can tell he's insecure about being inexperienced, and he displayed that for no reason at all to the media. I didn't get that assumption out of the question. I don't think a lot of people got that assumption out of the question. The only one that brought up inexperience and getting all defensive was J.J. Redick. I mean, the heat got to him at that point in time. Guy ended up losing in the first round to the T-Wolves as a 3-seed. It's the first time ever the Lakers have been eliminated in the first round as a 3-seed or higher. Rough for the Los Angeles Lakers. Who knows what the future is for LeBron and company.
Number 3.
It's almost as if you've read my notes, Braden. Let's talk about the future of LeBron James. Because after last night's loss, he was asked if he'd be back to play with the Lakers next year, and he said he didn't know. He said he was being honest. He didn't know the answer to that question, and he would use the offseason to speak with his family and speak with his support group and try and figure that out. What % chance you give LeBron of returning to the Lakers for another season?
I bet you he stays there. I'm going to go with like a 75%. If he
75%.
Yeah. I don't. Where is he going to go? Is he going to continue to play? Like, do we think he's going to retire? He's 40 years old.
He
could retire. I think it's either he's a Laker or he retires. I can't imagine him starting over
I wasn't
somewhere
implying
else.
going to a different team. I just meant like not retiring.
I bet you he plays again.
Do you think that % chance of not retiring went up since the Luka trade?
Of not retiring?
Yeah, of extending
I think a
his
little
career.
bit. Yeah, I think it extends his career a little bit. I think he thinks he can win with Luka, although his defense isn't very good. But LeBron's aging. Luka's a little overweight. J.J. Redick is insecure. Tough time for the Lakers right now. Tough time for the Lake Show.
Sorry about that, Tony Gwynn.
Sorry about it.
Number 4.
He's getting chirped at by one of my friends, I bet.
The Rockets beat the Warriors by 15 points last night to force a game 6. But what everyone's talking about from the game is whether or not Houston deliberately targeted Steph Curry's injured thumb. After a Curry three-pointer in the first quarter, Dillon Brooks made contact with Curry's injured thumb, causing Curry to repeatedly make a swiping motion at the refs, pleading for a foul. Steve Kerr also voiced his thoughts to the officials. Making contact with the player is allowed by NBA rules as long as it's after the shot is released. Curry and Kerr didn't want to discuss the issue after the game, but here's what Dillon Brooks had to say afterwards.
Dillon, one of the Warriors broadcasters tonight said he thought you were intentionally trying to swipe down on Curry's thumb, and Kerr was asked about it and said it happens around the league, that it's allowed by the rules, so players throughout the league do that. What do you think about that?
No, I've been playing the game. Shoot. If you're gonna come play the game injured or whenever you got, it's all about the game. You know, if I had an injured ankle, I would attack that ankle every single time. So, whatever they're saying on the broadcast, they can keep saying it.
Do you think targeting a player's injury is fair game in sports?
I do. I do think it's fair game. I mean, are we supposed to just like be nice about it? I mean, I don't think you're trying to purposely injure a guy, but if he has,
you kind of are.
But if he is unable to move a certain direction because of an injury, or he's unable to do a couple of things that limits his game, wouldn't you exploit that to win? Or you're like, I know I can't move laterally right now, but that'd be kind of mean if we decided to attack his ability to move laterally. I mean, if you're intentionally trying to like go after the guy's knee in terms of a contact play, I think it's a little bit different.
But he was intentionally making contact with an injured body part. That's different than saying he can't move laterally. I'm going to do a crossover and cut to his left.
As long as it's within the rules and it's not a cheap shot, I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, which is going to be the rule within the rule. I mean, I think there is a fine line between obviously trying to injure a player further and everything else like that. But, I think it's different. Like if they were going after like Tom Brady after he got his knee injury and you see like late shots at his knee, I think that would be ridiculous, but it's in the rules. I think it's fine.
Number 5.
My intention here is not to begin another discussion about buffalo wings, but earlier in the week we played the tense radio interaction between Bills GM Brandon Beane and a Buffalo radio show about their criticisms of the team not drafting any wide receivers. Yesterday, the Bills signed wide receiver Elijah Moore to a 1-year contract. Do you believe that the signing had anything to do with the radio spat earlier in the week?
I don't. I think they were probably going to. I don't think they have. I don't think that was part of the case. Because if it was, that's kind of a weird. Showed you. Here's Elijah Moore. I think if they were going to show the radio station that they have a receiver, they would have signed somebody bigger, maybe traded for somebody. But the Bills, they think they can win without the big receiving core. They got it. They're still upset about the Josh Allen comments from 2018, apparently. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. What does Luis Arraez bring that's not on a stat sheet? Why the Padres have been so successful with him in the lineup when we come back in the Braden Surprenant Show.
If you're in a car crash, call the Barnes firm now. Call 1-800-8-MILLION. They have an office in San Diego near you. I'm telling you, it could be the best call you're ever going to make.
The Barnes firm. Call 1-800-8-MILLION.
Paid spokesperson, West Broadway, San Diego.
Contractors, ready to hit a home run with your next outdoor job? Swing into J&W Lumber for brands like TimberTech and Trex for all your decking, fencing, and pergola needs. We have everything you need, always in stock. Call 760-444-4299 or visit jwlumber.com. Let's get it started.
Lowe's knows Mother's Day is just around the corner, and there's no better time to refresh your garden. Right now, get 5 bags of 1.5 cubic foot Scott's Naturescapes mulch for $10. Plus, select 1.5 gallon Annuals hanging baskets make the perfect gift. Now 2 for only $20. The best garden starts with great deals. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/7. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, discount taken at time of purchase.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here. Don't worry about missing Padres news. We'll update you on the latest on your way home. Gwynn and Chris, weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
$12 o'clock hour on the Braden Surprenant Show, lunchtime hour. Got my early morning pizza fix, thanks to Roundtable Pizza on the Roundtable. That was our first hour of this usual time slot. If you missed the Roundtable, which is hosted by Ben Higgins, that has me, Chris Sello, Matt Scraby, Paul Reindl, Steve Woods, a part of. No Tony today. He was in Pittsburgh, obviously, with the Padres getting ready to play the Pirates, who were down 6-3 in the top of the ninth inning. Paul Skeens got roughed around today in the fifth. Gave up 3 home runs. But the Padres don't have to deal with Paul Skeens this weekend. Anyway, if you missed any of that, we'll be re-airing it at 5 o'clock today. And if you missed that and you want to hear it live, don't have time to hear it live, it is posted on YouTube as well as wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow the Braden Surprenant Show at B_SURP, at BSURP. Follow me on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. If it's a social media platform that I have, that is my handle, at B_SURP, at BSURP. You can also follow my YouTube page, at B_SURP. You can also check out all of our videos and all of our talk shows on 97.3 The Fan at our YouTube page, at 97.3 The Fan. For everybody that's part of the YouTube page today, we only have 7 likes. Let's get the likes up. Go ahead. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up on the video. We really appreciate it. Helps us out. Helps our algorithm to try to push out the numbers of this particular show. Again, you can listen to our show as a podcast, audio-wise, and thanks to all of you that are doing that right now, wherever you get your podcasts. If you have Spotify, if you have Apple Music, whatever you have to consume podcasts, find our show, subscribe to it. We could really... we really appreciate you guys doing that, help growing our show in our first couple months of the season. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Oh, man, they're going to a rain delay now on the top of the 7th. The Twins and Guardians are on MLB Network right now. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if they put anybody else on MLB Network in the middle of the day besides American League Central teams. Is there anything more boring in sports, especially in the United States, anything more boring than an American League Central matchup in the middle of the week? That might be the most boring sporting event ever. I mean, like Twins White Sox on a Wednesday afternoon. I mean, if you have the day off or you're sick and you need to take a nap, that's something you put on. Tell me, Guardians and Royals, does that move you on a Thursday at like 9 in the morning? Oh, man, I really want to tune into the Tigers-Guardians game. Can't wait for the Twins and the Royals to play at noon Pacific time. I know people don't like Thursday night football too much. I'm not a huge fan of it. I would rather have 2 Monday night games than a Thursday night football game. But would you rather watch Jags-Titans in a Week 6 Thursday night football game or Twins-White Sox on a June Wednesday afternoon? I mean, are you kidding me? I'm taking the football game every night, every day of the week. There can't be anything more boring in professional sports, especially the top 4 sports in the United States of MLB, NHL, NBA, what am I missing? NFL, then an American League Central midweek, middle of the day. It might be the most boring content out there. And it's always on MLB Network. It's always on MLB Network. It's never not. So now, since the Twins and Guardians are in a rain delay, they got to actually put on the real games like Diamondbacks and Mets. No, Royals got to be playing. Got to put them on. A's Rangers would be more of an appeal than Guardians Twins. I don't get it. It must be very popular in the Midwest. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I guess there are some college football games that might be on that list, but I will refrain from saying that. I want to talk about Luis Arraez a little bit. And there's some interesting talking points about Luis Arraez in particular, and Kevin Acee laid this out today in his daily newsletter, and if you haven't subscribed to it, I recommend doing so. The Padres feel like themselves again. In fact, Manny Machado said so. He said it in a quote in the newsletter, but he said it yesterday. We're back to ourselves. They got Jason Heyward back. They got Luis Arraez back. And instantly, it reignited Padres' way of baseball. Most notably, Luis Arraez. It's no coincidence that the new spark that they got in the last couple of days is in lockstep with Arraez and even Jason Heyward returning the lineup, but it's more so Arraez. The return immediately restored team's energy, identity, and execution of Padres baseball. So right now, Schilt baseball. Schilt ball. Arraez really the driving engine of this team. I mean, you start looking at the numbers, and it makes a lot of sense. Arraez in the lineup, the Padres are 18-6. Without him, they're 1-5. He consistently sparks rallies, extends innings, lifts the team's tempo with his tenacity at the plate. And when you look at this new spark for the Padres and you look at Luis Arraez, you look at some of the breakdowns that Kevin Acee put in his newsletter. First 19 games of the season, Padres had 11 games with 10 hits, 10 games with 5+ runs, 10 games with runs in 3+ innings, 18 multi-run innings, 18 multi-run innings in the first 19 games, and a 15-4 record. Around the time Luis Arraez went down, now some of these games he is factored in there because it's the next 9 games after the first 19. He's only missed 6. He only missed 6. So during his absence, though, games with 10 hits over a 9-game stretch without Arraez at the end of it, 2. 0 games with 5+ runs, 3 games with runs in 3+ innings, 3 games with multi-run innings, and the record was 2-7 compared to the 15-4 in the first 19 games. Past 2 games, Arraez back in the order. 2 games with 10 hits, both games with 10 hits. Both games had 5+ runs. Both games had games with runs in 3+ innings. 4 multi-run innings for the Padres in the past 2 games, and the Padres are 2-0. Michael King had this to say about Luis Arraez. He is tough, or has tough at-bats and the energy. It's much more exciting team with Luis Arraez in the lineup. And with Arraez back in the 2-hole, Padres were empowered to do in these 2 games what good teams do. They did what they preach. Mike Schilt had this to say. There wasn't a throwaway at-bat the whole series. There wasn't. This is the talk about winning on the margins. This is the difference, and this is why I mentioned at the beginning part of the show why this team is a playoff team and a World Series contender when they're at full strength, and they're not even at full strength yet. They still even have Jackson Merrill back. You look at Luis Arraez in the order and what the Padres have done and what he brings. These are not things that you see on a baseball savant page. These are not things that you see on a baseball reference page, on Fangraphs. I mean, he's not that valued of a player in Major League Baseball to a lot of teams. But for the Padres, he's definitely a valued player. I mean, you could talk about his swing speed all you want. It's not very good in the grand scheme of things. Very high contact guy. In this day and age, when you're thinking about slug and driving in runs and everything like that, you don't think too much about whiff percentage, strikeout percentage. He does square the ball up a lot. He's in the 100th percentile in squared up balls, in whiff percentage, and strikeout percentage. He is the best. But he's not the best in barrel percentage, which is 1%. He's not the best in hard hit percentage, 2 percentile. Average exit velocity, below average to poor. Bat speed, poor. But where he leads is squared up percentage, whiff percentage, strikeout percentage. Gets a lot of hits, high average guy. Is he more valuable to the San Diego Padres than he is to anybody else? Look, he's not a high power guy. He's not going to be hitting too many extra base hits. If he does, it's because he hit a nice line drive. But with his high batting average on the team and just the way that the team has been able to play with him back in the lineup, you have to think that Luis Arraez needs to be part of this team for a long period of time. Jesus in the chat goes, how is his bat speed slow? Well, when he swings the bat at 63 miles an hour, and that's at the low end of Major League Baseball, his bat speed is slow. So Luis Arraez being part of this team, he might be more valuable to the Padres than anybody else. Is it time to start thinking about extending a guy like Luis Arraez? How do you make that happen? I don't think you can give him a 10-year deal. But should the Padres think about extending Luis Arraez? We'll take a deeper dive into that. What do I think about keeping Arraez? Because he is a free agent at the end of the year, and he's 28 years old. High contact guy. How much will he cost? Does it affect other potential ads or maybe extending Michael King? We'll take a look at it. What do you think? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
There, baseball fans, Tony Gwynn Jr. here. It's time to step up to the plate and upgrade your outdoor living space with TimberTech, the #1 premium composite decking brand. It looks like natural wood, but without the costly maintenance of a wood deck. Plus, it's made with up to 85% recycled material. California fire safety is always top of mind, and TimberTech has collections with top-rated fire resistance, including a Class A flame spread rating, so you can build a beautiful outdoor space with confidence. See for yourself why TimberTech is everything wood should be. Order free samples at TimberTech.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check for your wallet first, before hitting the drive-thru.
$6.
Sorry, forgot my wallet. I have change, though. Here's 40 cents, another 40. Ooh, a bicentennial.
What's that?
Oh, gosh.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This hour on 97th and Fans brought to you by Robert Half. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Luis Arraez brings a lot of intangibles that you can't get out of other players. He brings a lot of things that don't show up on a baseball savant page, a lot of things that don't show up on a baseball reference page or Fangraphs or whatever site you want to use. He's a high average guy. He's not a high slug player. He's 28 years old. He's going to arguably compete for a batting title every year that he's out there. And he kind of fits that, again, those comparisons to a guy like Tony Gwynn in terms of style of play. Not a lot of home runs, but he's going to hit for a high average. And he brings this energy to the team that they all say is contagious. And you've started to see that where he's not on the team and when he's playing on the team. Is it time to start thinking about making sure Luis Arraez doesn't leave in free agency? Now, to be quite frank, I mean, he's 28 years old. I'm not willing to give him a massive contract. I'm just not. But the thing is, in order to keep a guy like Luis Arraez, I don't think you need to necessarily give him a 10-year deal. He's 28 years old. I don't really want to pay him until he's 38. He's in the bottom 1% in swing speed in Major League Baseball. What do you think that's going to be when he ages? I mean, how much worse could it possibly get? I'd give him a max of a 5-year deal. And you're looking at anywhere, and to me, if you could pay him anything under $15 million a year to stay in San Diego, I think it'd be worth the contract. I don't know if you want to pay him more than $15 million, or maybe you give him something where eventually like $15 million really in baseball is like $10 million in the future just because of the way inflation works and the way contracts are being handed out. But I also think the circumstances of this particular situation make it interesting. You know, in a vacuum, if you're just thinking about Luis Arraez and bringing him back and no other factors, like signing him, preventing you from signing other pieces, I think that's a fair deal. You know, we had one, Jesus in the chat said 5-year, $60 million. Does he sign for 5 years, $60 million? I think he probably could. I mean, he's making $13 million right now, or $12 million right now, if I'm not mistaken. What's he making this year? He's making $14 million, so you'd be taking a $2 million pay cut. So maybe you do got to pay him like $15 or $16 million over the next couple of years. I mean, I'm not getting anything close to 20, I can tell you that. I don't care how many. I don't care what the vibes are. I don't care what his VAR is. $20 million, thanks for the memories. We'll see you, buddy. But when you start looking at spending that money, here's a couple of factors that play in. Number one, and it's small, Yu Darvish is making less next year than he is this year. You're going to get $5 million back. Now, some of that goes back into some of the other players because some players are getting raises next year. Some players are getting pay cuts. Darvish is getting a pay cut. The other thing is a 12 point whatever million that you're paying Hosmer to fund his podcast is no longer on the books either. The fact that the Padres, or the fact that Luis Arraez does not have a major market for him, I think helps play into the Padres' favor of, maybe somebody that's not a contender has a market for a guy like Luis Arraez, but maybe it's better to take less money to come play for the Padres and continue what the Padres are doing. So 5 years, $60 million, 5 year, I think 75, 80 maybe. I mean, 5 years is fine to me because he just turned 28. He'll be 33 when the contract is over. You buy him for 5 years. He's going to be with the core group of guys for the next handful of years. And I think that really opens up your window. I think if you want to go with maybe some options involved or incentive, maybe you make it incentive based. But the fact that the market is really non-existent, you don't have to quickly make this decision in season. It's not like you have to give him an extension now. But it is something to talk about at the end of the year. I think you let him test the market a little bit, see what the market offers, and try to match it. Now, if he gets something close to $20 million a year, thanks, Luis. We appreciate it, man. We'll remember the great times we've had together. Thank you for your service. Now, if the question becomes signing Arraez prevents you from signing a guy like Michael King, thanks, buddy. A little slap on the backside and carry on with your journey. So, but in the sense of the situation in a vacuum, I think you got to bring him back. Now, the other question is, and people always say, I'd rather spend the $15 million on pitching. Again, I think you might have to pay a little bit more than $15 million to keep Arraez. But do you want to know the pitchers that signed last year for $15 million? Here are the 4 pitchers that signed for $15 million last year. Starting pitchers. So instead of signing Arraez, put that money towards pitching. Or you could put it towards a bigger pitching contract and you're getting less players back. But, it is what it is. Let's just say 1 for 1. If you wanted to spend it on pitching, $15 million a year. What type of pitcher does that get you? If you had to take a guess, go ahead and say it out in your car. Take a wild guess as you're driving around. $15 million a year for a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball now. You guys got your name that you're thinking of? Here are the 4 players that signed for $15 million last year. last offseason. Max Scherzer, injured list. Guy's 40 years old. Charlie Morton got moved to the bullpen. How poorly he's pitching in Baltimore right now. He's 41 years old. Justin Verlander, who pitches for Houston, who's also 42 years old. And Alex Cobb, who signed with Detroit, who's 37 years old. I would rather have Luis Arraez than any of those pitchers. I would rather have Luis Arraez from age 28 through 33 than any pitcher over 40 years old. I don't care what they've done in the past. That's a waste of $15 million a year, even though most of those guys only signed a one-year deal. But that's what you're looking at. Yeah, Verlander's in. I was looking at the team from last year. From Houston, he plays in San Francisco. But again, still don't want him. Players that signed for less, Matthew Boyd, Shane Bieber. Clay Holmes has done a pretty good job. Patrick Sandoval, Mike Soroka, Clayton Kershaw, Trevor Williams, Michael Lorenzen. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'd still rather have Luis Arraez than any of those names. You're going to have to spend top dollar to bring in some pitching. If you want to rope the $15 million in, you save not spending on Luis Arraez, maybe. But to lose Luis Arraez and maybe another player in order to sign a pitcher, I don't know if that's formidable either. But the more that you see the Padres play without Arraez and play with Arraez, you're starting to realize that maybe this guy is a key cog to this team. It's got to be for the right price, though. It's got to be for the right price. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We want to take more of your phone calls on the Luis Arraez situation if we can. We will be joined next by Mark Neville of Sports San Diego, talking about the final team in the Radies Children's tournament. They finally filled that particular void. He'll also come on and talk a little bit about the general landscape in college athletics as well, and some of the big events that Sports San Diego is bringing to San Diego during the summertime. We'll talk more about that with Mark Neville. Plus, we need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. Today's question is closer related. MLB closer related. If you take me down, you have an opportunity to win a trip to Las Vegas. So give me a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and we'll try to get you qualified to win a trip to Vegas. That's all coming up next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Quinn and Chris on the Fan.
Have a little bit of
He's just trying to get me in the direction of picking the Rams.
Yes, I am.
The orange.
Why wouldn't you pick the Rams? Because they're in the same division as the 49ers? It's stupid.
We're talking about Colorado. Stay here.
Oh. We didn't just jump ship to the Super Bowl. I thought we did.
Listen to Quinn and Chris weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 The Fan, San Diego's number one sports station.
Now at Verizon, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on my plan. And you can get a single line for just $45 a month when you switch and bring your phone. That's our best price ever on unlimited welcome with autopay plus taxes and fees, guaranteed for 3 years. Because at Verizon, we got you. Visit your local San Diego Verizon store today. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply.
Tender, juicy, and full of flavor. Jensen Premium Beef Patties will make you the MVP of your family. Taste the Jensen difference by picking up a box in the frozen section at Food for Less. Jensen Meat, a proud sponsor of the Padres Radio Network.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. The wins used to hide it. Gruff pressers, the paranoia, the power trips, all forgivable when Bill Belichick was stacking rings. But now he's making headlines for date nights, not defenses. His girlfriend Jordan Hudson's front and center, and Belichick looks more tabloid than tactician. As for his day job coaching football at UNC, if he starts winning again, maybe, just maybe, we'll forget how messy this all looks right now. I'm Maggie Gray.
Baseball coverage on 97 to the Fans, presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on the iPhone 16 Pro. We're going to be playing our midday sports standoff in just a little bit, but we do want to take a little bit of break from our baseball coverage. We'll get more baseball conversation in the 1 o'clock hour, continuing to talk about Luis Arraez, continuing to talk about how great the Padres have played with him in the lineup, as well as how great of a coaching staff Mike Schultz put together, and you're seeing it with the team, and why I think this team can not only make the playoffs, but potentially make a run in the postseason. Somebody that's really good at putting on postseason and preseason events will now join me on the Braden Surprenant Show. CEO of Sports San Diego, Mark Neville, joining us on the show, as he does often, to talk a lot about big events coming to San Diego. Mark, what's going on? How's your Thursday?
Braden, my Thursday is great. And, yeah, we're talking about big news, big college basketball coming to San Diego this fall.
Yes, huge college basketball coming to San Diego this fall. We have a great group of teams. They needed one more, and you picked up one that is near and dear to my heart, Mark.
Yeah, we did. And, you know, yeah, sure, we have the reigning national champion Florida Gators coming to town. We got the Wisconsin Badgers out of the Big Ten. That's great. Providence out of the Big East. It's all fine and well.
Yeah.
But to cap it off, we got the best of the best, the TCU Horned Frogs coming to San Diego for the Rady Children's Invitational. It's going to be huge.
Absolutely. I'm glad you got all my emails I was sending you about contacting Jamie Dixon and company to bring them to San Diego just on my accord. But I kid.
You
Obviously,
broke me down.
that's
broke
right.
Me down,
That's
Brady.
right.
Couldn't take it anymore.
Enough mentions of it. But anyway, how did that come about? And what are some of the things that you're excited to see from them before we move on to some of the other events you guys have this summer?
Yeah, it all came about. I mean, it's been very fluid with the Rady Children's Invitational in terms of the teams that we get. We already are off the charts in terms of being one of the certainly the biggest early season 4-team tournament in the country. We have a knack for getting Final Four teams, I guess. We had Purdue and NC State in last year's tournament to join Ole Miss and BYU, and now this year we got the Florida Gators. We got that one right. Getting the national champions coming back out to San Diego. But with TCU, we did lose. We've lost a couple teams just with that event out in Las Vegas that's paying big money to get them to go out to Vegas, bigger than what we're paying. And so we've lost a couple teams, and one of them was Kansas. And so we were looking far and wide and with all of our connections around the country to get a replacement team for them. And, we actually had to do that with Florida on another team that we lost with Creighton. So it worked out to get Florida. And then Coach Dixon had a high interest in coming to San Diego. And, with our relationship with Fox Sports, the telecast producer and distributor of the event, we assure them that we are going to get Power 4 teams or Big East teams or mutually agreed upon teams. And so TCU fit that bill, coming out of the Big 12 and a pretty good basketball history as well. And so we were really, really happy to arrange a deal with Coach Dixon and the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, it should be fun coming up in November. But as we talk with Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, it's not just obviously the basketball tournaments, Rady's Children's, Classic, and then of course the Holiday Bowl, your two main events. But you guys put on a lot of different events throughout the entire year, and we got a couple of events coming up this summer. What are some of the things that people should be on the lookout for as you guys drive tourism to San Diego?
Yeah, we have a busy year for sure. But before we leave the Rady Children's Invitational, what I'd like to say is this event sold out 3 months in advance last year. We were up at Lion Tree Arena at UC San Diego, and now we're over in Jenny Craig Pavilion. We needed a little more capacity. These tickets are selling very quickly. We went on sale not that long ago. We're already 50% full. And a lot of people last year, 61% of the folks that bought tickets were from outside of San Diego County. 51% of them were from outside the state of California. And so encourage local basketball fans, if you want to be in on this, get the tickets now, because this will sell out. And of all the events that we've produced through the years, this one might be the very best we've ever done. And so it's a special event, especially with Rady Children's Hospital as our sponsor and beneficiary, including kids as part of the festivities, serving as honorary team captains, delivering the game ball, and many other things. This not only is it a great event and a great basketball event, it's just a great event in general because we check every box, and whoever comes in, it's very affordably priced as well. It's 4 games and you can get into the building for under $100. So good stuff. And so thank you for allowing the opportunity to talk about that. But yes, we do have the Holiday Bowl. We also own the California State Games. It's one of the largest Olympic-style sports festivals in the state of California. We'll have about 10,000 kids who participate in any one of 19 sports this summer. Everything from the traditional softball and track and field and swimming and events like that, but also some that are not as traditional, like surfing, very appropriate for San Diego. Surfing, judo, archery, field hockey, you name it. It is a tremendous event. It's been going on in San Diego for decades now, since 1988, I think was the first one. And then we assumed management of it a couple of years ago, and an event that we're really proud of, an event that we're going to grow, and encourage people to check that out. By the way, all this stuff that we talk about here, you can get it at sportssandiego.org. So
Talking with CEO of Sports San Diego and Mark Neville, and obviously some major events. CONCACAF Gold Cup coming up, ECNL Girls Playoffs, as in at Surf Cup Sports Park. I mean, there's a lot of different events from all different levels.
You're nailing it. You're nailing it. Keep going, Braden.
That's right. U.S. Senior Women's Open, but next year, back on the NCAA tournaments group. Obviously, the first and second rounds were announced to be coming back to Viejas Arena. Is that something else for some people that might just assume that the school that hosts is the one involved? But I think you guys have a lot to do with that as well, correct?
Yeah, but I will tell you, San Diego State really does a great job with that. There's a lot of events in town, like the Farmers Insurance Open or the Rock and Roll Marathon. And I would even say, while we assist with March Madness up at San Diego State, it is really John David Wicker and his crew up there at San Diego State that just do an amazing job as hosting that event up there. There's a lot of events that come to town that we just get out of their way and let them go. And for the most part, it's like that with March Madness, though we do help in a couple areas. But we're lucky here in San Diego. There's a lot of people who are really dedicated to sports tourism here in town. Last week, we had our annual fundraising events called the Sports San Diego Game Time Gala, where we recognize venue of the year, event of the year, marketing program of the year. But we also presented a Lifetime Achievement Award to Ron Fowler. And I want to be really careful when we call it the Lifetime Achievement Award. It's not, while it recognizes their body of work previously, but Ron's not stopping. Ron Fowler is pretty legendary in San Diego, and the impact that he's made, not only on the sports tourism industry and sports in general here in San Diego, but on a lot of people. There were so many people at that event on Friday night that were there and whose lives and careers have been impacted and have been successful because of Ron Fowler. And so there's a lot of stuff going on at Sports San Diego. We got some news that will be coming out here in the coming weeks that will be pretty big and pretty great for San Diego. So lots going on. We're fortunate to have all of our volunteers and the staff here. The team that we have assembled is just top notch. And so we generated, when we were doing the Holiday Bowl, we were driving about 20,000 room nights a year for the community. And our first full year as Sports San Diego, we did 100,000 room nights. This last fiscal year, we did 132,000 room nights. And what we want to do is drive sports here to San Diego that's going to generate each year 250,000 room nights. And that's important because that puts people in our restaurants and bars. It puts people in our local attractions. It generates tax revenues. It creates jobs. And it really adds to the quality of life in our community. So very, very proud of what we're doing here.
Well, Mark, and I know you don't like giving away secrets, but my next question was going to be about things that you're teasing. You kind of already answered that. So for anybody that wants to get involved with Sports San Diego that might be listening and be like, hey, this is kind of cool. I want to help out with this. I know you got different levels, but just real quickly, how can people get involved with what you guys are doing and bringing tourism to San Diego via sports?
Really easy. Go to sportssandiego.org, sportssandiego.org, and one of the tabs is Get Involved. And we do need help. We need more people to help us do what we're doing on a daily basis. And it's fun. I mean, we're putting on sporting events for the community. It doesn't get any better than that. So please, again, sportssandiego.org and get involved.
Really appreciate the time, Mark. Our resident fan of yours and friend, Sam, wanted to see if you wanted to take me down on the midday sports stand-up, but I think we have to go to other contestants for that. But I appreciate the time as always, and look forward to talking to you again as we get closer to some of these events.
All right, Braden. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. Mark Neville does a great job in bringing tourism to San Diego. I mean, people think I just brought him on because TCU is in the deal. It's not about them. It's about all the things that he brings and Sports San Diego does for this community, which is great, and bringing a lot of great events here to San Diego. We could use even more, but need some help. So if you want to get involved, you can go to sportssandiego.org, click Get Involved. Again, all the events are posted on that page. And again, get in line for tickets already for the basketball tournament coming up in November, preseason during the Thanksgiving holiday, the Rady Children's Invitational. It should be a fun contest. You got the reigning champion Florida Gators coming to town as part of that event at the Jenny Craig Pavilion. Should be fun later on in the year. But without further ado, it's time to try to get somebody qualified for a trip to Vegas with our midday sports standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, time to try to take me down. If you have, or if you do, you're qualified for a chance to win a grand prize. 2 tickets to either Disturbed Ghost or Pantera in Las Vegas, plus a 2-night stay at the MGM Grand in Sin City and a $150 gift card. Get tickets for all 3 shows now at Ticketmaster.com. Today, we have Roger in Spring Valley joining us for the show.
Boy.
What's going on, Roger?
I'm getting ready to take you down because
All right.
I had a chance last time, missed it by 1.
All right,
It can happen
Roger.
this time.
Well, we like giving away prizes on this show, so we're going to go back and forth. I think you know how the rules are. Adam's going to ask a sports trivia question. For everyone you get correct, you get a point. Everyone I get correct, I get a point. Whoever's got the most points at the end wins. If there's an answer that repeats, you get multiple points for said answer. Anytime that you answer incorrectly or in not the allotment of time, you'll get a strike. 3 strikes, and you are out of the contest. If we tie, you win. We like giving away prizes on the Braden Surprenant Show. Ready to go?
Sounds good.
All right, here's Adam Klug.
After earning his 12th save of the season yesterday, Robert Suarez leads all of baseball in that crucial statistic. Let's examine the top 10 save leaders right now in baseball. Name anyone in the top 10 of saves excluding Robert Suarez. That means there are 9 correct answers. There shall be no tie today.
You say just this year? Or?
This year.
All right.
Okay.
Just this year. Robert Suarez is number 1 with 12 saves. Name me anyone else in the top 10 besides Robert Suarez.
And I'm going first?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. All right. Padres been known to always have great savers. So obviously I go with the classic older one that we used to have, Josh Hader.
8 saves for Hader.
I like that. That's where I was going to go. I'll go with I don't know. They haven't had too many wins.
The list is. I'll give a clue. The list is littered with former Padres.
Former Padres. I would go with my guess would be Andres Munoz.
Second in baseball with 11 saves.
Wow.
Oh, you took that one. But I got another Padre for you. Tanner Scott.
Really, he hasn't been pitching very well either.
He's got 8 saves.
8 saves for Tanner Scott. Sacramento's got not Sacramento. I hate the A's, dude, just for this. Mason Miller.
Oh.
2-2 so far. No strikes. We've got a monsoon in Cleveland, by the way.
Oh my God! Is there anything more boring than AL West baseball in the middle of the week?
I knew that would get Braden going.
So boring.
Is this the second rain delay?
Yeah, it's the second delay. They're never finishing this game.
Austin Hedges wants to play through it.
Hey,
2 outs in the 8th inning.
All right, you got enough. You gave Roger enough time to think about it. What do we got?
All right. Wasn't this one also an ex-Padre too? The one for Cincinnati, I think. Emilio Pagan?
Emilio Pagan, 8 saves. Top 10 in baseball so far. We mentioned earlier that the Reds just demoted their ex-closer,
They
Alexis
did.
Diaz.
I'm gonna go with the Mets closer and Edwin Diaz. Even though he's got a negative
Just
WAR.
made the list
Killing
with
these
7.
balls.
He's the final person on the list. So you guys, it's 3-3, no strikes. You guys have given 6 of the 9 correct answers. There are 3 left. And the last 3 are difficult. I'll say that.
Oh, crap, what's his name? The one with the Nationals. Kyle Finnegan?
Kyle Finnegan.
Good old Michael Finnegan. Begin again.
Kyle Finnegan, 9 saves.
Oh, shit.
Whoa!
Ah, foul. That should be a strike.
I think Kyle Finnegan. You're right. Yes or no?
Yeah, but the language.
Give me dropping no
Oh,
S-bombs.
I'm sorry.
Bro.
Yeah, you're right. I'm
We are
right.
live on the
I wasn't
radio, my
thinking.
friend. All right.
Bro.
Roger, you're up 4-3.
Oh,
Braden, there's 2 answers left.
Carlos Estevez, Kansas City Royals.
Carlos Estevez. You guys are perfect so far. 4-4. There is 1 correct answer left. Let's see if you can get it without cursing, Roger.
Okay. I'll keep it down. Thank you for reminding me. This one I know because it's my son's cousin's name, named Luke. I can't remember his last name. Luca.
No, Luca's terrible at defense. He can't save.
Luke, like Luke Skywalker, but like it's Luke Jackson.
Clean the board.
A clean sweep for you guys. No one missed a single one. That's pretty impressive.
That's how I represent Spring Valley.
There you go. Congratulations to Roger in Spring Valley. Perfect board.
I'm a little surprised by that. I didn't think it was that easy of a question.
There's not a lot of teams with saves there, Adam. Let's look up the we go back to the order. The Suarez is 1. I gotta find it. What do we got here? MLB summary, baseball reference page. I guess I could do it on ESPN for stats, but pitching. Oh, they finally put the good game on again with the Mets and the Diamondbacks.
Juan Soto just hit a home run.
Wow. He was getting booed the other night. He was 0 for 4 last night. Oh, I guess they're doing highlights. He hit 2 home runs? 2 pumps? 2 pumps for 1? Wow. I want to know what Frank the Tank from Barstool calls Juan Soto's nickname, since he calls everybody else feeble. Juan Soto, 2 pumps today, huh? 3-2 game for the Diamondbacks, bottom of the 8th. I don't know who I want to win that game. Probably the Mets. They don't want to deal with Arizona as much. All right, saves leaders in baseball right now. Suarez with 12, who's in line to be the... Could you imagine if the 2 closers in the All-Star game are Robert Suarez and Andres Munoz? 2 Padres perform. 4 Padres on 4 former 5, right? Look at this list. Robert Suarez, current Padre. Andres Munoz is 2, former Padre. Carlos Estevez, Kyle Finnegan, Mason Miller, Josh Hader, former Padre. Tanner Scott, former Padre. Emilio Pagan, former Padre. 5 players in the top 10 in saves with Padre connections. This is what really plays into the conversation we had earlier this week. When Robert Suarez opts out of his deal, it's only a procedural matter, I would imagine. He's expected to make $8 million next year. There's no way he's going to lead in saves and be one of the best closers, if not the best closer in Major League Baseball, and expect to get paid $8 million when he's 34 years old. This is his time to get as much money as possible. So when he opts out at age 34, going into his 35 season, and he wants like $20 million a year, this is proof that you can plug in place with other guys, because the Padres have done a great job with their closing history. I think Estrada might be able to be a closer in the future. Like Jason Adams under contract for a little bit of time could be a closer. I think you got a lot of options in the Padres currently. Plus, they always find a way to get guys involved in being closers. Not a bad game today. We'll talk more about Luis Arraez, kind of reset what we've been talking about with the Padres and why they are successful here in 2025, why I think they can make a run of the World Series. But who's their biggest threat? It's more than just the division. National League is loaded. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Setting's #1 Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At SDFatLoss.com, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally, and safely with no drugs or injections, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, or exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can lose weight quickly and keep the weight off for good with an easy-to-follow maintenance plan that includes ongoing personal support. And our program costs half as much and works up to twice as fast than most other programs. Go to SDFatLoss.com to schedule your free consultation now.
It's Chris Ello here from Gwen and Chris. I lost 37 pounds. That helps because summer's coming up. Bathing suits, tank tops, you want to look great? Take advantage of SD Fat Loss and do it now.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation now at SDFatLoss.com. That's SDFatLoss.com. Results may vary.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked the homeowner in with an APR in the low fives, saving her over $1,000 per month and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 619-207-4336. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
There'll be no pandemonium here today.
For breaking news alerts, plus reaction and analysis, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at 97.3 The Fan.
One rule that you need to take very seriously, and that is that there are no rules.
Braden Surprenant show on an off day here in America's finest city. Padres will start a 3-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates coming up this weekend. Earlier start times, obviously, than normal, with them playing in the Eastern time zone of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 3:40 start time tomorrow, 2:40 Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show. We will have a full show. Gwen and Chris will not tomorrow. They will have a full show today. We'll have the Matt Scraby show today as well. Times for this weekend series, 3:40 Pacific time tomorrow, 1:05 start on Saturday, and a 10:35 start in the morning on Sunday. Those are the three games against the Pirates. Padres will then play the Yankees for a 3-game series. All three of those games will be night games in New York, 4:05 starts on the West Coast. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres are one of those teams, excuse me, and the way that they play, and the players that they have, and the start that they have had, when you see them at full strength, they are a team that not only is a playoff team, but is a team that could definitely make a run at a World Series. We talked about that in the first hour of the show. And when you look at the way the team is built, and you look at the way that they are coached by Mike Schilt, by Ruben Niebla, by Victor Rodriguez, this team is built to have a very successful summer. And you're starting to see that again with pieces coming back. And I think it's only going to get better when Jackson Merrill gets added back to the team on Monday against the Yankees, what is expected to do. Should be getting Brandon Lockridge back relatively soon as well. Expect Jake Cronenworth to be back mid-May. And then again, you look at a guy like Yu Darvish, he should be back near the end of May, beginning of June. And when you're at full strength, and they need to be at full strength for June, because June is a gauntlet, and so is August for the Padres in terms of teams you're playing. And again, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. They are going to have spells, and I said this in the first week of the season. People seem to forget that during the little bit of a downturn that the Padres had when they were missing 3 players out of their core 6. They're going to have some stretches where they lose games. They're going to lose 4 in a row. All good teams do that. It's baseball. And so during the 4-game losing streak, they're going to not perform at a high level in certain cases. They're going to, as Chris Ello mentioned, not hit with runners in scoring position, which in all the games that they've won, they've hit over 300 with runners in scoring position. And all the games that they've lost, they've hit under 200 with runners in scoring position. So despite all of that might be going on, the way the team is built, the players that they have, the coaching that they have, the camaraderie, the continuity, this is a good baseball team. They are going to have a good 2025. Now, that being said, before people start going like, well, Braden said they're going to have a great year, and then they didn't have a great year because, half their team got injured. That's a different story. So barring long-term injuries that create a situation where the Padres are rolling out the lineup that they had to roll out against Tampa Bay, this Padres team, as assembled at full strength, is a World Series caliber team. That's why the Baseball Reference numbers had them as a high percentage chance of winning a World Series and had better odds based on one of the metrics than everybody else in the National League West to win the World Series. I couldn't believe that when I saw that on Monday. But the fact of the matter is, this Padres team is very, very good. So what I'm saying with this is enjoy the ride. There's got to be down times. You got to flush it and be like the team on the field and just be like, we'll get them tomorrow. Because that's what this team is going to do the entire year. They are going to get them tomorrow. I can't imagine too many situations where they get swept in the near future if they're at full potential and full strength. I'm sure it could happen. It's Major League Baseball. This is a nice little road test for them because the Padres have not played well on the road so far in 2025. And if they do play well, maybe gets them a little bit of a bump. You don't want to fall too far back behind the Dodgers and make it a sense where we're just trying to make it the wild card and that's it. I mean, keep putting the pressure on. The last couple of years that the Dodgers have won the division, it's usually they've jumped out to gigantic leads and they can play without pressure. And when you play without pressure, you do a very good job. Look at anybody that's hitting on offense. When the team is rolling on offense and there's no pressure, it's a lot easier to hit Major League Baseball. When you have an opportunity to play, and when you're playing golf and there's no pressure for you to make a shot, you can go out there and rip it. And you have that confidence, you play a lot better. You just play a lot better when you don't have any pressure on yourself to perform. There's only select individuals that can play in high pressure situations. I mean, even the good players on the Padres, not all of them are really good with pressure. And so when you apply pressure, as Jackson Merrill says the Padres do, when you apply pressure and don't feel it, you can go on some winning streaks. And when you apply pressure on the Los Angeles Dodgers, that opens up for a fun race in the second half of the season. Last team to do that was San Francisco. And you know what they did? They won the division. They had an unbelievable year. Now, they ended up losing the Dodgers in the playoffs because they weren't necessarily as good as the Dodgers were. But when they applied pressure and made the Dodgers earn it down the stretch, they came out on top. And it's not just going to be the San Diego Padres. You look at the rest of the National League West, and you can pull out the fact that it's going to be a gauntlet of a year for all the teams in the NL West. It is a beast. And the Padres, luckily, are off to a 5-0 start in NL West play. Now, that being said, 3 of the wins are against the Rockies. Everybody's going to have their 13 games against the Rockies. But the Padres are off to a hot start in NL West play. They have won all 5 divisional games, 3 against the Colorado, 2 against San Francisco. While encouraging, this is just the beginning of a long and grueling NL West slate, including 37 more games against playoff caliber opponents in Los Angeles, Arizona, and again with San Francisco. Still got to play the Giants 11 more times. With a heavy load of divisional games stacked in August and September, Padres must prove that they can not only start strong but sustain success against the league competition. The road to October likely runs through the West. I would say the road in October runs through the West. Padres got to try to just keep the pressure on with the Dodgers before they play them, and as well as the Diamondbacks, as they still got 37 more games against all the best teams in the division. And so far right now in the round robin, with the Padres and Giants being the only 2 teams to play each other, Padres are at top of the leaderboard at 2-0. Diamondbacks and Dodgers haven't played anybody else in that division, in the division within the division, as we're calling it on the Braden Surprenant show. And the Giants are 0-2. You got to try to win that battle of those 4 teams, and then you really got to eat against the Colorado Rockies. I don't like, and I mentioned this on the round table, which will re-air at 5:00 today. I don't think you can, with baseball, just because baseball is weird, you can never guarantee a sweep, nor should you expect your team that you root for to sweep any team, regardless of how bad they are. And Colorado is historically bad. They are historically bad. So when you got Colorado, not this weekend, but the next weekend, you got to be able to take as much off of them as possible. You don't play the rest of the National League West or another National League West opponent until June. I talked about it before with the schedule laying out the rest of the month of May. No more division opponents. After this road trip, which we've talked about a lot, Pittsburgh, New York, Colorado, you got Los Angeles Angels, Seattle Mariners in town. Not that big of a test. Toronto's been okay. Got to go on the road. Atlanta's been better. You already won the season series against them. Then you finally get Miami, and you get Pittsburgh again. And then you get the division in June. Giants, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Dodgers early in the month of June, mixed with the Brewers and Royals. That's got to be tough before you get to play Cincinnati. July, you play Arizona again, but you only play one division opponent in July. And then you get to August, and it's, again, heavy like June. Diamondbacks for 3, Giants for 3, Dodgers for 3, Giants again, Dodgers again. You got to play the Giants 7 times, and the Dodgers 7 times in a 2-week span. You basically have 2 weeks against the Dodgers and the Giants here in California. A Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in August in San Francisco, an off day on a Thursday, Dodgers for 3 over the weekend, San Francisco for 4 straight in the midweek at home, Dodgers on the weekend. That's a rough stretch, too. That's going to be the up and down. Now I'm getting hungry in the chat. Rod's at Mona Lisa's. That's like one of the best sandwich places you can get to. Number 18, money. Add avocado. Rod, good move. Good play. But again, you look at the Padres and you look where their standings are right now. You look at the upcoming schedule. Again, as the narrative was at the beginning of the show, and what I have taken away from this team after the month of April is that this team is going to be a playoff team, not a contender. They're a playoff team, and they're going to make a run in the postseason. I'm curious to see what they do at the trade deadline. Again, it's May 1st. You still got all of June and all of July before you can even start thinking about that stuff, or at least getting close to it. But the road ahead goes through the West. The road ahead also goes through the National League. National League is loaded. How loaded is the National League? Has anybody been paying attention? We'll talk about some of the big reasons why the National League not only is better than the American League, but what stands in the way of the Padres in making a run in the playoffs. I mean, the playoffs in the National League side is you're going against World Series caliber teams night in and night out. The slate ahead, we'll talk about it when we come back. Plus, a little bit later on, Jeff Passan has biggest takeaways from the month of April in Major League Baseball. A couple of them involve the Padres. Whether we agree or don't, we'll talk about that later as well. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on until 2 o'clock before Gwynn and Chris. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Summer is better with True Green, especially at a price this low. For a limited time, get 75% off your first treatment and enjoy your lawn without overspending. With True Green, you get expert care and a plan tailored to fit your lawn's needs, so it looks best while you save big. Let the pros handle the hard work while you enjoy the results, relax more, and keep more money in your pocket. A great lawn has never been this easy or this affordable. Sign up now at TrueGreen.com. Restrictions apply.
Check out 97.3 The Fan's weekly Padres Roundtable every Thursday at 10 a.m. Delivered by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable Pizza. It's pizza royalty.
On the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2, as we lead you up to Gwen and Chris today, and then the Matt Scraby Show. We will re-air the Roundtable at 5 o'clock on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Roundtable hosted by Ben Higgins. Panel of our on-air personalities, myself, Chris Ello, Steve Woods, Paul Reindl, Matt Scraby, all breaking down basically the last week in Padres baseball, mixed with some other things. We did talk about a little bit in the Roundtable, and we'll dive more into that, obviously, at 5 o'clock, which you can hear on 97 through the Fan, about some of the minor league players for the Padres. Now, ESPN ranked the Padres farm system 26th in Major League Baseball. It's obviously not that great overall compared to what it's been in the past. But that doesn't mean they don't have great players at the top. You look at a guy like Leo DeVries, and here's what you need to know about Leo DeVries according to ESPN's Kylie McDaniel. This is what he said. This is insane. This is wild. What to know? DeVries is the same age as the top high school players in this year's MLB draft. He not only would be the number one overall pick, quote, by a mile, but, and this is the most significant thing, he'd be one of the best number one picks in recent memory. I'm going to read that again. DeVries is the same age as the top high school players in this year's MLB draft. he not only would be the number one overall pick by a mile, but he'd be one of the best number one picks in recent memory. Are we hyping this kid up too much? I don't think we are. Leo DeVries has been putting up stupid numbers offensively in minor league baseball. I mean, absolutely stupid numbers. They call him the mutant. He's ridiculous. He's 18 years old. Baseball Reference has a thing called age difference stat. It's the difference of the player's age to that of the weighted average of all the players in the league that he is playing in. They conduct batter and pitching ages separately because obviously position players and pitchers progress at different times. His age difference is negative 4.3 in high A. It was negative 5.2 in the Arizona Fall League, in which he didn't play as well. But being 4 years younger, just a little bit over 4 years younger than the average player in high A, this season, Leo has, in 19 games, hit .306 with a .625 slugging percentage, a .1003 OPS, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. He has walked 9 times. He's got 5 doubles, 3 triples. He has already hit for the cycle this year in 19 games. What a jump. Last season, when talking about Leo DeVries, and they had a huge article on him because he played just up the road in Lake Elsinore in low A. He ended up getting hurt at the end of the season, but from a mental makeup standpoint, the team wanted him around because of the leadership he brings and how he's mature beyond his years. I don't know how much this is going to be true or not, but if you start asking around about what this kid can do and what the Padres think of him from a mental makeup standpoint, for a maturity standpoint, from the way he conducts himself, all the off-field things, on top of the fact that he's a freak athlete on the field. Again, his nickname is the Mutant. I would not be surprised to see this kid up if he passes the AA test. Now, I don't think there's a lot of players. I don't think there's players that need to go to AAA. I think AAA is, and you see a lot of guys make the jump from AA on. We saw Jackson Merrill relatively do that, and Jackson Merrill didn't spend a long time in AA. San Diego, I mean, the Padres have moved guys up very quickly. They did it with C.J. Abrams. It didn't really work out for the Padres, but he's doing okay for Washington. They did it with Jackson Merrill. I mean, they brought him up to the big leagues at 21. Leo's 18. Leo has had way more hype around him than Jackson. I mean, Leo's been talked about. I mean, think about this for a second. What Kylie McDaniel said. He is the same age as all the kids come out of high school that will be in this year's draft. He would be the number one overall pick in this year's draft by a mile, and he would probably be one of the best number one picks in recent memory. That's insane. Now, again, you look at what Jackson Merrill did as a minor leaguer, and he was pretty good. Didn't have a lot of experience playing higher than AA. Didn't have really too much experience playing in center field, if at all. But you look at what Jackson Merrill did. Jackson Merrill played 46 games in AA before getting the big league call. Now, he started playing at 18. Leo started playing younger than that. He started playing at 17. He could, obviously, he was different with the international signings, a little bit different. But Jackson Merrill in High A Fort Wayne in 2023 in 68 games, hit 280 with a 318 on base percentage, a 444 slug, 10 home runs, 2 triples, 12 doubles, and had 300 plate appearances. Leo's not there yet. He has only played in 19 games. It's a small sample size. And you look at what he's been able to do. And again, this doesn't mean anything. Like what you do in these levels, compare it. Like you could compare all you want. CJ Abrams actually, I think, ended up playing. I think he was playing better than Jackson was in Double A before he got the call up, and it wasn't the same transition. I think the mental makeup of things kind of pushes you a little bit more. And Leo is more like Jackson than Jackson was like CJ in terms of like his maturity and everything like that. And it's not out of the ordinary. I mean, as Adam Paul in the chat said, Mickey Mantle debuted at age of 19. Now, that was back in 1951. Bryce Harper debuted at 19. There's a lot of players that have debuted under 20 years old. Ruben Yount debuted at a very young age. I think Elo said he debuted at 18 or 19 years old as well. But Jackson Merrill in Double-A for San Antonio when he was 20, and his age difference was the same as what Leo's is. He was negative 4.4. He was younger than everybody in Double-A by 4 years, just like Leo is in High A. When they eventually move Leo to Double-A, which I would imagine they're going to do this year, if he hits 280 or around there, I bet you the call to bring him up is a lot faster than you would expect. Now, that being said, he does come with a little bit of things he needs to polish, and one of them is defense. His defense hasn't been that great. He makes a bunch of errors. He made 3 errors the other day in High A Fort Wayne. And so when talking about, obviously, the mobility of Xander Bogaerts is not going to be nearly as good as this 18-year-old kid. You want to make sure he's able to be able to play at a high level before you bring him up. But again, Padres rush guys through, and I would not be surprised if he was up with the team after he passes the Double-A test. He doesn't have to go to Triple-A to then go to the big leagues. And a lot of pitchers are better in Double-A. You know, Triple-A is a little bit different. You want to go Double-A to the majors. You don't want to get stuck in purgatory in Triple-A. Not to say you can't get good players out of there, but it's a different animal. You're going to have skewed results in the PCL compared to what, playing in the Texas League in San Antonio. There's something to think about, something to look for. Leo DeVries. And again, Xander's just bridging the gap. Because once Leo is up, Xander's not playing shortstop anymore. I don't know if that happens this season. Maybe it's a conversation for the offseason into next year, but that's definitely closer than you think. He's been phenomenal. Something to pay attention to. What else the Padres need to pay attention to? The rest of the National League. National League is a gauntlet. What stands in the Padres' path to potentially winning a World Series? What did Jeff Passan say about some certain Padres topics after 1 month of play or after finishing April? We will talk about those to finish the show when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, standing as our one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Ben Woods on The Fan.
Coming up on a Friar Friday, Mike Schilt joins the program at 9 o'clock, and we'll also talk to Darren Smith about his experience in Spain at a nude beach.
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 on 97.3 The Fan.
Fraser Farms Market, your natural grocer since 1971. Now through May 5th, fresh all-natural American Wagyu carne asada $7.99 a pound. House-made fresh seafood or shrimp ceviche $9.99 a pound. Siete Maes tortilla chips 2 for $6. And sweet strawberries 2 for $5. Huge savings all week long. Shop Fraser Farms Market in La Mesa, Oceanside, and Vista or FraserFarmsMarket.com. Fraser Farms Market, a better way to shop for a better way to live.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-837-5050. That's 800-837-5050. 800-837-5050.
Were you in a car crash? Call the Barnes firm now. Right now. 1-800-8-MILLION.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Segment of the Braden Surprenant Show, Sandy's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Leading up to Gwen and Chris, so we'll start today at 2 o'clock. Tony's got an off day in Pittsburgh with the boys getting ready for a 3-game series against the Pirates. After the 3-game series against the Pirates, the Padres will be in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees for 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Thursday is off, and then they got the Rockies in Colorado to complete their 9-game road trip. 9 games in 11 days on the road. We'll be back here on May 12th to take on the Los Angeles Angels for 3 before they play the Mariners over the weekend. That's your majority of the month of May schedule for the Padres. Want to join the show today, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We're going to dive into, during that kind of span, there's a lot of questions about the rotation because the Padres got to get now with they had 2 off days this week, which allowed them to go with a 4-man rotation. So moving forward, they need to add another starter back into the rotation. And you're getting to a point, obviously, with the success that I've laid out of what the expectations are with this team. This is a playoff team. Maybe you got to start thinking about making sure guys are getting an extra day of rest here and there, using your rotation in a sense of, maybe you rotate some guys like, Hart started the season as the 5. Maybe it's Kolek's turn. Maybe Randy Vasquez gets some time in the minor leagues. I mean, who knows what happens when Darvish comes back at the end of the month. But we'll talk more about the rotation tomorrow. And they have a lot of interesting moves that they could make with the rotation. They also have some interesting moves on what they could do on the position side of things when it comes to when Merrill and Lockridge are activated from the injured list. That's going to ask a lot of questions because some of these players that have been brought up have earned a spot on the team. Like Tyler Wade has earned a spot on the Padres. I don't think there's really any questions about that. He's been phenomenal. His first night had some rough at-bats, but I tell you what, he bounced back from that, hitting for a high average, contributing to the team's success offensively, did a great job filling in center field, kind of an unsung hero to that stretch of just trying to keep things afloat. He did a great job. I think you got some value out of him, and I think he brings some intangibles to this clubhouse, to this organization to help them win in the future. He was one of the players that did not make the team out of camp. He was DFA'd and was put to the risk of being lost to some other team because of Yuli Gurriel being on the team. And they had to have Yuli Gurriel on the team because he had over 300 in spring training. I'm so glad the Yuli Gurriel experiment is over in San Diego. So glad it's over. But he's already been removed to activate Arraez. And they put Mason McCoy on the injured list to activate Heyward. So there's going to be decisions that need to be made with guys like Tirso Ornelas, guys like Oscar Gonzalez, guys like Connor Joe, Tyler Wade, when some of these players are coming back. First, it's going to be Merrill and Lockridge. Then it's going to be Cronenworth, and those decisions need to be made. The pitching one's a little bit more self-explanatory when Darvish comes in because, again, Darvish was going to be in there with, the top 4. He was expected to be one of the top 4 pitchers, and then it was going to be either Hart or Vasquez or Kolek for the number 5 spot. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Vasquez first in the 5 when Darvish comes back. Hart and Kolek are down, but I think you can rotate those spots a little bit. We'll dive deeper into the starting rotation coming up tomorrow on tomorrow's show. If you want to join today's show again, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I want to dive into the National League. This was one part of what was a interesting breakdown by Jeff Passan on ESPN.com that was written yesterday. And if you want to check out the whole article, it's on ESPN.com. He dives into his biggest takeaways from the month of April in Major League Baseball. And do we agree with some of these? Some of them I don't really care. I mean, he has one on stolen bases back and better than ever, but the offense is still meh. I don't think that really applies to the Padres because they have overwhelmingly had a better offense than most teams in Major League Baseball. Hit for a high average. I mean, I think the Padres are a little bit different than MLB. That's not one that I really want to dive into. Torpedo bat, I mean, you could mention that it was more of a moment than a game changer. I think for some guys it's worked. A lot of players immediately started ordering the bat, didn't like it, don't use it. It's not a cheat code. It is what it is. Ends up being a nothing burger that people were freaking out about because the Yankees were in all these home runs. They're continuing to hit home runs. I mean, they've been bludgeoning the Orioles the last couple of days. But the number one thing that Jeff Passan laid out in this article was the National League. This is the direct quote from his piece. Not really an article, more of an opinion base, more of a columnist than anything else. The National League is vastly superior to the American League. I don't think that a lot of people argue with that. I think the National League has the best, 7 teams in the league. If you look at the overall standings of things, the overall Major League Baseball standings. Here's your top 10 teams just on standings. I didn't talk about power rankings because we didn't really talk about the ESPN power rankings. Maybe we dive into that tomorrow. Padres didn't move down that far, despite all of the losses, getting swept by Tampa, losing 2 series in a row, having a rough road trip. They dropped from 2 to 4. Think about that for a second. They dropped from 2 to 4. I mean, a lot of teams that go on stretches like that, they'll plummet in the rankings, but everybody knew that the Padres not having their full squad was a big reason for them slumping a little bit. And then they got 2 guys back, beat the Giants 2 days in a row, who were red hot coming into the series, and the Padres flipped the switch. There are not a lot of teams that just flip a switch. They flipped a switch. And so they only dropped to 4. It goes back to our original argument on the show today. This is a team that's going to be competing for a World Series. They can make a playoff run. I know it's May 1st, but they're built for success. But to go back to the National League, best record in baseball right now is the Dodgers. Boo. Five-game winning streak. Get to play Miami right now. It's not who you play, it's when you play them. New York Mets, number 2. Padres, 3. Tigers, best record in the American League. Then the Giants, then the Mariners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the Cubs, 8's the Yankees, 9's the Guardians, who you swept, 10's the Phillies, and then Arizona comes in at 11. I think Philly and Arizona are both better than Cleveland. I think Philly and Arizona are both better than Detroit. I think they're probably better than the New York Yankees, and I think they're better than the Mariners. Dodgers, Mets, Padres, Giants, I think are all better than those teams. I think the Cubs are better than those teams. I think the Phillies and the Diamondbacks are better than those teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think the best 7 teams in baseball are all in the National League. And only 6 of them get to make the playoffs. So it's a grueling gauntlet ahead for the San Diego Padres, not only in your division, but in the National League in general. National League is clearly superior to the American League early in the 2025 season, and it's not even close. Despite some preseason expectations of parity, the NL is blowing away the American League in almost every meaningful metric. Record, run differential, OPS, home runs, stolen bases, pitching performance. 7 NL teams, the ones I mentioned, are arguably better than any American League squad, with the Yankees and Tigers the only AL contenders hanging around the top tier. Lopsided dominance raises questions about roster depth, organizational strength, whether the AL is falling behind in both development and adaptation to modern trends like bullpen usage, baseball aggression, and power and contact balance. If you want to dive deeper into that, you can go check out Jeff Passan's article. And it's not behind a paywall. It's one of the free ones. National League has a plus 69 run differential overall, and that's including the 4-25 Rockies dragging them down, who might be the worst baseball team of all time. National League hitters have a higher OPS, more home runs, fewer strikeouts, more walks, and more steals. National League pitchers have a lower ERA in interleague play by more than a third of a run, and that's just straight dominance. 7 legit NL powerhouses versus 1 or 2 AL hopefuls. Mets, Dodgers, Padres, Cubs, Giants, Phillies, and Diamondbacks are all stronger than the Yankees and the Tigers. It's not just about record. We're talking about depth. We're talking about health. We're talking about bullpen strength across the board. Padres have the best bullpen in baseball. Here's how it lays out for these 7 teams. Padres have the best bullpen in baseball, jaw-dropping 1.66 bullpen ERA with nearly 88% of runners stranded. On top of that, as laid out by Kevin Acey's article today in his daily newsletter about the bullpen, and I got to go find it because it's pretty good. When talking about the bullpen for the San Diego Padres, he went on to talk about how the fact that they had given up some runs to the Giants hadn't been perfect. Adam gave up his first run in at home. Estrada's given up a couple runs at home. Despite all of that, the bullpen still has the best ERA in Major League Baseball. Still has the best ERA for a bullpen in Major League Baseball. Jaw-dropping 1.66 bullpen ERA. Los Angeles Dodgers are scary because of their depth, but their stars are struggling so far. Rotation does have a lot of injuries. Their replacements have been pretty good. Ben Kasperius is throwing 99 with wicked spin rates, and the Dodgers are still dominant with all the money that they've spent. We all knew they were going to be good. Blueprint of a championship franchise. Paying a lot of money for elite talent, elite insurance. Cubs, 40-40 club in April. They hit 42 home runs and had 44 stolen bases, which is very rare for a team in the month of April, just in a month in general. Offense is rolling with the easiest remaining schedule. If they get even average pitching, watch out for the Cubs to really go on a run. I mean, think about the Cubs for a second. Chicago, who sits at 19-13 on the season, has yet to play an opponent that currently has a losing record. At least on Monday, that was the case. Chicago Cubs have played. They've only had a cut now with some of the teams losing after Monday. Monday, when we were talking about this on Monday, the Cubs hadn't played a single team against that had a record below 500. They're 19-13 on the year, 17-12 against teams above 500. They went 2-1 against some team that I don't know off the top of my head that is currently below 500 right now. I don't know who that might potentially be. I guess I'd have to look it up real quick. Maybe it was the Pirates this week. They might have dropped a game to the Pirates this week who's below 500. But still, that is utterly ridiculous. Yeah, they lost to the Pirates yesterday. So these 3 games against Pittsburgh are the first 3 games that the Cubs have played all season against teams below 500. That means their schedule is going to get a whole hell of a lot easier down the stretch. That's someone you have to worry about, especially with the offense that they have. It's crazy. Bullpen's not very good, but everybody's got one of those. Everybody in this list has a weakness, per se. Philadelphia Phillies, built for October. They're not off to the greatest of starts as they would probably like. They're still 17-13. Elite top-end starters in Wheeler and Luzardo, but the bullpen has been a mess. 5.25 ERA. Still missing some power in the lineup. And Aaron Nola has not been that great for Philly either. He's 0-5 going into this week for the Phillies. But they do have a couple of flaws. But another team that's battling for the postseason spot. Diamondbacks still waiting on their pitching. Offense is elite. Could get better when Lawler and Marte return. Again, they're doing this without Ketel Marte. And if the rotation stabilizes, Arizona is a postseason nightmare for a lot of opponents. And Ketel Marte should be back this weekend. So you come in and look at what the Padres have to go through in the National League. And it's pretty tough. I saw this put out today on social media. I think it's from MLB on Twitter. You know, if the season ended today kind of situation. Here's your playoff picture. I mentioned all those teams that are legit. If the season ended today, which it doesn't, but after the month of April, LA would have the number 1 seed, followed by the New York Mets. LA would play the winner of the Padres and the Giants in the 4-5 matchup. Cubs and Phillies are the 3-6. Winner of that would play the Mets, the 2. You're missing the Diamondbacks in that stretch. Wild card standings, Padres have a 2-game lead on Philly. Giants have a 1.5-game lead on Philly. Philly's got a half-game lead on Arizona. And don't look much further down. Cincinnati, Milwaukee, and Atlanta are all teams that could be knocking at the door, too. They've just gotten off to rougher starts. This National League is very good. And it's going to be a difficult task for the Padres, but I think they're built for it. Despite everything that we've said, I still think the Padres are better than a lot of these teams. I think the fact that they split with the Cubs is great. We haven't seen them against the Dodgers or the Mets yet, or the Phillies. I think Atlanta's going to be there near the end. We'll see what the Diamondbacks have later on in June. But after watching the Giants play the last couple of days, I still think they're a good team. I'm not necessarily afraid of San Francisco. I mean, the Giants, like, you look at their lineup, doesn't have a lot in it. I mean, Jung-Ho Lee's been good, but you look at their core of their order with Jung-Ho Lee and Matt Chapman and Wilmer Flores against the Padres pitching staff these last 2 days, and the Padres threw their best. They threw their number 1 and number 2. So if you're thinking about playoff level kind of game, you really got 1 and 2 versus 1 and 2. I mean, Logan Webb's their ace. The Padres against Chapman and Flores and Jung-Ho Lee was remarkable. Only 2 hits between the 3 of them. They were both by Jung-Ho Lee. Not a single hit was an extra base hit. And they had combined, I think, 12 strikeouts, if I'm not mistaken, between those 3. That's the core of the order for San Francisco. I look at the Padres, look at the Giants. I think the Giants are probably good enough to hang around, but I'm not as worried about the San Francisco Giants as I am the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers, at least in the division. Cubs are legit. They're going to play an easier schedule down the stretch. I think the Mets are playing fool's gold a little bit. Arizona went up there and took 2 out of 3 this week. You know, LA is LA. We already knew about them at the beginning of the year, but you got sneaky teams like the Reds, the Brewers, the Braves. And I think that's about it. Cardinals aren't very good. They're 4 games under 500. It's not like they're trending in the right direction. They're continuing to just petter around the bay, if you will. Nationals are still a year away from being a contender. You know, they got a lot of good young players, but not really. Marlins are awful. Pirates aren't very good. And Colorado might be the worst team ever assembled, which was another key takeaway for Jeff Passan. There's more on here. I mean, here's Jeff Passan's key takeaways. We really wanted to look into the National League in particular. But if you're interested, stolen bases back better than ever. Offense is still meh. Talking about the whole league in general. Torpedo bat was more of a moment than a game changer. Pitching woes for the Orioles and Braves have dug mighty holes. Yes, they have. 5 pitchers in 2025 that are breakout aces. Nick Pivetta was listed on this particular list. We'll talk a little bit more about him tomorrow when we have time, but 32-year-old Pivetta has spent upward of a decade, this is from the piece, tantalizing evaluators of this stuff and always found himself done in by the home run ball. In 35 1/3 innings this season, he has given up 2 home runs, and 3 of his 6 outings ended after 7-inning shutouts. Best part of Pivetta's game is getting tremendous amounts of in-zone swing and miss, and a testament to the quality of his stuff. Last thing that was in that article, Rockies are a real threat to the White Sox being the worst team ever. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow, plus the pitching staff of the rotation. Gwen and Chris will be coming up next. I'm Braden Surprenant, signing off. Talk to you tomorrow. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.